And those folks, in fact, one of my neighbors, Jack, had his stroke 5 years ago, and I talked to his wife this morning. They know nothing about our stroke.
You're kidding. Our group?
Nothing about it. And so I passed on some.
Most people after a stroke seem to be pretty isolated. Or the family keeps them isolated because they feel they can't do anything. We do like to eat a lot. We also do other activities in conjunction with Memorial Medical Center. They have a wonderful stroke program over there.
At Memorial.
Yes, and wonderful programs. Recently we took painting classes, and get this, knitting. I actually was able to knit without 2 hands. That's pretty difficult to explain. It's the neatest little thing. It's this little round loom-like thing. They teach you how to wrap the yarn around it and pull it off and things like that. Makes you feel like, aha, I can do something. Christmas presents.
So there are activities that you're learning to do that are new.
Yes.
And although you can't do things as you once did, you're learning some new things.
First place was, I took her to the doctor, and we had to go in a wheelchair to the doctor's office because she could not walk. And when we got to the doctor's office, the doctor just said, well, go on home, take her home, because she didn't look like she had a stroke or anything. She looked like she had a problem with her diabetes. And then like 2 o'clock the next morning, she was saying that she couldn't move any part of her left side of her body. So we went into the hospital then, and I don't like to say anything about doctors, but the doctor got his butt chewed out. I won't say that.
Don't say that.
He did. He got called at 2 in the morning by the ER doctors about why she hadn't been in there, you know, a lot earlier than what she was. So, she's fairly lucky, you know, as stroke survivors go, because she can move just about everything. She limps just a little bit yet, but other than that, she's doing real good.
So you've noticed that Barbara's stroke isn't the same as Kate's.
Right. There's lots. We belong to the stroke group, and we go to stroke group meetings, and we go out to eat with all these different people. And I'll tell you what, they're all different. Every survivor's different. Every caregiver's different. And what's really surprised me is that one gentleman that belongs to the group, I guess his wife must have died 2 or 3 years ago, but yet he still comes to our meetings, which is good, really good.
Kind of shows, you know, the value of the friendships that we're developing here.
Right.
Some of us have only known people for less than a year, and others have known for several years. But it seems to be this group is providing friendships because we start on the level of everyone has a stroke, everyone's life has been disrupted by this stroke, and I think most everyone would reflect just what Dean said. You just don't know until it's happening to you.
Right. And a lot of people don't know. They think a stroke is like a heart attack. You can get right back up and do things, let's say a couple weeks after you've had it, and it just doesn't work that way.
Bob, I've noticed that you show up in a lot of these eating meetings. You kind of like this Lincoln Land Support Network? Why don't you tell us about what it was like for you when you first realized that you had a stroke?
When I first had my stroke, it was devastating because I thought my life was over with. The only people I knew who had strokes and survived were veterans folks. I didn't think there was anything left for me to do. It wasn't, I mean, I went through rehab in the hospital and rehab outside the hospital. At home, they got me up and walking because when I left the hospital, I couldn't walk. In fact, I couldn't use anything on my left side. It was dead. But through the Memorial Stroke Group, I got involved in the Lincoln Land Stroke Group, and I met a lot of people who taught me that there is a life after stroke. I mean, up there at Memorial, they took me out fishing, showed me I could still fish. They taught me I could still go swimming. So, you know, they showed that, you know, as much as I lost that I can't do, there is still a lot of things that I can do.
Really suction.
And right now, what I can't do is basically limited to my safety. I mean, there's things I'd like to do, but I know that I can't because it'd be unsafe for me to do at this point. Like getting involved in my tools. And I won't say this on TV, it's because of my wife.
Well, as I understand it,
My tools, my power tools, my saws and drills. I can't get out in the garage and work with stuff like I used to. But I do have one goal yet. And that's to ride a motorcycle.
When he's in Folsom Prison now?
I figured that's my goal, to get better, you know, get better enough so I can. We're looking at a three-wheeler that would be, you know, easy for me to operate, you know.
So you're looking at the safety feature now.
I'm looking at the
With the
safety.
motorcycle and with driving, do you need to coordinate this with your doctor to make
Well,
sure this is okay?
the doctor's already released me to drive.
Oh, he has already released you to drive?
Yes.
Okay,
And
but
I've
that
already-
was necessary in your case? Or you had, somebody had to authorize you to be able to
Yes.
drive again?
I went about 9 months before they let me drive. Even though I had my wife to drive me around, but still, the idea that they gave me the permission to drive meant that there was an extreme amount of freedom that I regained.
Because I got a new one.
I didn't have to rely on somebody for everything.
What about, you heard Kate talk about, she has to have help with getting dressed, getting into bed, bathing and things like that. How about you, Bob?
I still have to have help getting dressed. And taking a shower, I need help. But other than that, I can do a lot of things on my own. I'm very fortunate. I mean, I still have my left side, which doesn't work, but I've learned to adapt a little bit to it. Like with sugar packets that you can't tear open, I have a pair of scissors that I use to cut them with. And I can hold them in this hand, you know. I use this hand a lot of times just to hold things, so that I can operate them with this hand. But, I mean, I feel extremely fortunate. Or as one member in our group says, I feel blessed I've been given a second chance,
But it works.
you know, to help other people who's in my situation, who just had a stroke and don't realize the frustrations and the obstacles and how to get by them.
So is that why you're here tonight?
Yes.
Because you're trying to help other people?
Yes, because I went through a terrible, terrible depression. I got to the point where I did not want to live anymore. And through a lot of help with people here and people outside, I learned that was the wrong attitude. That I can do a lot to live. And I can make a difference.